Tell me, what is the purpose of the Center for Great Commission Studies?
Yeah, so the Center for Great Commission Studies, the CGCS, it actually exists. We've got a mission statement, right? Our mission statement is that we exist to mobilize and equip both students, faculty, and staff, so all three of those, in fulfillment of the Great Commission. And that's really what we do at the seminary, is keeping that idea front and center, both on campus for our on-campus students and really for our student population, no matter where they are in the world. We like to talk about the Center for Great Commission Studies as being the thing, or at least one of the main things at the seminary that helps to operationalize that question that Dr. Aiken is asking all the time. And of course, the question is not, why should I go? The question is, why should I stay? That idea, we really take that as our marching orders as a center. How do we ensure that here on campus and in our student population, wherever they find themselves, that they can't be a Southeastern student for very long without being confronted with the reality that they need to think in that way about the ministry calling they've been given.
Yeah, that's great. When was the center founded and why?
Yeah, so the CGCS is the first and it's the oldest of our ministry centers on campus. It was founded, if I remember right, 1991. So we're closing in on 35 years. I think next year is 35 for us.
You're right.
So we'll be hopefully celebrating that next year.
Wow.
So we've been around for a little while now. And back then, the reason that was stated for founding the CGCS at the time was to provide a hub or a headquarters for all of Southeastern's Great Commission efforts, however you want to define that. And that has looked different from one era to the next in the life of the center, but that still really serves as what we do, is serve as the missionary mobilization hub for Southeastern.
What are some of the primary ways that y'all equip and resource students and the broader community?
Yeah. So it's both. It is both. There's all kinds of random things that we do, and a whole bunch of not so random things as well. But I tend to break them down into four categories, if you will, as far as how we engage in that work. First and foremost, one of those is practical ministry experiences of some form. Now we do that through a couple of different ways as a center. We have a lot of events on campus that are geared toward helping students interact with missionaries or church planters, helping them hear about areas of need, places where they can go and serve, find out about all the different opportunities that they may have. So we've got things like our Global Missions Week on campus. The CGCS is the one that is responsible for that week. We've got the Carver Barnes lectures, which are missions lectures, academic lectures that are geared toward the task of missions. And then we've, of course, got our mission trips. I'm sure we'll talk more about those as well. So we do that kind of work to provide experiences. You've got the events, and you've got internships, mission trips, residencies, and those kind of things that we do. In addition to that, we also do a really large amount of, this is probably one of our primary purposes, I think, coaching and counseling for students who are thinking through what it is that the Lord would have them do. So if we're really about operationalizing that question, if it's our job to help students think about how they're gonna obey the Great Commission, then that doesn't mean everybody's gonna be an international missionary. It doesn't mean everybody's gonna be a church planter or a pastor, but it does mean every single student here has to be asking and raising some of those questions about how it is they're going to be obedient to go and make disciples in whatever sphere the Lord's going to call them to do it. Our office is here as a resource to students so that they can think through that at an individual level. What does it look like for us to see the unique circumstances of a student, some of their giftings, some of their passions and desires in life, the stuff that their church is involved in, and help them think through what it would look like for them to discern that call. So we do a lot of meetings with students where we're coaching and counseling and providing groups and cohorts and opportunities for them to experience and live out and think through some of that stuff. So that's another one of our buckets. Past that, ministry partnerships and missional partnerships within our denomination is a key piece of what we do. So if a major part of our work is helping students get from here to Great Commission. That's a big piece of what we're doing. We're a denominational seminary, right? We exist at the joy of the Southern Baptist Convention. They started us, they founded us, and our ministry assignment as a seminary is to help equip their own people that they send to us, our students, so that they can go be obedient to the Great Commission in some capacity internationally or in a North American sense. And so we take very seriously the opportunity that we have to help those students get connected to those denominational partners, whether that be the International Mission Board or it's the North American Mission Board or various state conventions and associations. And of course, our local Southern Baptist churches that are scattered out all over the country. So a big piece of what we do is helping make those connections for students as well. So we are in real active connection and conversations with all of those agencies about the needs that they have, the different opportunities, the roles that they may have on the field, the places where they need their next church plant, and everything in between. So that is one of our buckets as well. And then the one that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know that we do, we're engaged in research and resource development when it comes to really Great Commission ministry in general, so missions research. If you ask students, like what's the most well-known thing that the center does or that the CGCS is responsible for? What's the thing that they do? They're typically going to run to our mission trips, right? And there's reason for that. We've got 10 to 12 mission trips a year. They go all over the world, North America or other places overseas. And man, students love our mission trips and they fill. We average over 100 students a year now who will go somewhere in the world and engage for a week to 10 days with IMB field teams, with North American Mission Board church planters to engage in that work. So you ask your average student, I think the thing they think the CGCS does is mission trips. And it is that. But I'm pretty convinced our best kept secret is the fact that we're actually there and willing and able and happy to meet with any student here on campus or at a distance who's trying to think through how they're going to be obedient, what it is Christ is calling them to do. And we've got tools and resources and people in the office to help think through that stuff. We see ourselves first and foremost as a center for students, faculty, and staff. We have a primary audience that is our internal audience. So I think that's right. And that's where maybe front foot ministry for us. But there is a back foot ministry that's really important. And one that we really enjoy being able to kind of fulfill for our greater denomination. We have an opportunity here. We're in regular contact with some of the best missions minds in our denomination. Many of them are students here or have served as students here at some point. Now they serve in leadership with the IMB, with North American Mission Board. They're pastors all across the country. They're missionaries somewhere. And so we have an opportunity to be a collecting point for a lot of that shared knowledge. And it's a really neat experience. It's a really neat opportunity for us. And then to be able to share that back to our denomination as a resource. I find myself on a fairly regular basis fielding calls from local church pastors who are now thinking, we really want to take seriously this idea of being a sending church. What does it look like for us to do that? What would be our first steps? And so we have almost a consulting opportunity in moments like that to help churches think through how to take that next step as well.
What are the ways in which students can engage with the CGCS?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of different inroads. And so there's a lot of different inroads for ways that you can engage with the center. Again, and I keep saying this, I think mission trips is one of the first ways for most students.
And that's what I had here, and that's what I was thinking, and I was like, there might be other ways.
There are. There's other pathways. In fact, there's a bunch of other pathways to get engaged with the work that we're doing. So mission trips is a front door for a lot of students. That's where they'll first meet some of us in the office. That's where, depending on who's leading the trip, because a whole bunch of faculty here will lead our trips for us. But I'll lead a number of them myself, and so this may be where students have their first interaction with our office. But in addition to mission trips, we got 2 or 3 or 4 other ways that students will do it. We will, on a regular basis, have students that just walk in. So that's one way. And I would encourage students, if you're a student who's watching this video, stop by and say, hey, introduce yourself and say, I know that you guys are here to serve every student. You're not just here for somebody that's in a missions degree. So what does it look like for me to start thinking through some of this stuff too? And man, we'll sit down, we'll have some time with you, and we'll get to know you, and we'll figure out what does it look like to start helping build a plan.
What can a student expect on a short-term mission trip? What does that look like?
Yeah. Ooh, good question. This is gonna sound cliche, but you got to start by saying expect the unexpected. Here's what I mean by that. We've got so many trips that go to so many different places, and man, the world is a really diverse place. Every time we go somewhere, we're going to a new people group with a new language, with new cultures and customs. It's a new landscape. It's a new ministry setting. It's a new religion. The church is at a different phase of development, whatever place we're going. And so we're not ever the same. I'll find myself one semester in one of the largest cities in the world, only to find myself the next semester in one of the most remote villages in the world. And so the contexts and the people that we're engaging are completely different from one place to the next. It's hard to know what to expect in that kind of environment. And so you can expect to be surprised. Things are not going to be how you expect them to be in some sense, no matter how hard you try to prepare for it. Just a few weeks ago, I got back from leading one of our teams to a location in Central Asia. While we were on that trip, we had 7 or 8 students on that trip. Some of them, it was their very first time on an airplane. Like, not just their first time in a country that's full of lost people, their first time on an airplane. They'd never been out of the country, so it was just a very fresh experience, right? But I'm watching this team, and we got to engage with a number of different individuals over the course of about a week in this country. And man, the team got to share the gospel a good bit. There was a number of people that heard every single time. The person they were talking to said, I've never heard this information before. I was a Muslim country, and so they knew the name of Jesus, because Jesus has a role in Islam. But when I got to telling them the story of who Jesus was, what he did on our behalf, to a man or woman, every time they shared the gospel, these people were like, I have never heard any of this. And I got to watch, in one instance in particular, I was sitting at a table, we were having lunch with a Muslim man there in the area who was working with our group for the day, and I had 3 other guys at my table that were on our team. And over the course of an hour and a half or 2 hours, I'm watching as the team is, asking good questions and sharing the gospel with this man, and he is shocked by the information. He's like, I've never heard any of this stuff. And he begins asking them questions. Well, if that's true, what about this? And I'm getting to just kind of sit back, and I'm watching what's happening. You can spend a lot of time learning about how to do gospel ministry. That's a good endeavor. That's what we do here, right? But there is no replacement for learning how to do gospel ministry by doing gospel ministry. I get asked this question a lot, right? So, do you see students benefit from the trips? And I think the answer is every single time. Seriously, every single time. I've led, at this point, a lot of trips through the Mission Center here at Southeastern. And I can't think of a trip I've led where there wasn't at least one student that came back and in conversation with me at some point was like, this was a profound experience, and it's direction providing for me. Because of this experience, I feel like it's helping me navigate what those next steps are every single time it happens. And the number of students I have or have had that I can point to that point back to one of the school mission trips, that's why they are on the international mission field, or why they went to be a North American church planter or are pastoring here, but one of their first things they did was decide we're going to be a church that's serious about sending people to the nations. Man, the number of students that have gone from one of these trips to then say, this has been a life-changing experience that's now going to cause me to shift my direction so that I can obey the Lord in a way that I think is now what He'd called me to do. There's too many to count. All right, so what I'm gonna say here is it's gonna sound a bit like marketing speech, but I promise it's not. Like, I'm not just saying this because it sounds cool. So I teach missions history as well. And when you look at church history, you look at missions history, there are these periods, these seasons in time and place where it seems like the Lord, just in his kindness, pours out some unique favor on a institution or a group in his church, where he gives them this outsized opportunity to take a key role in the spread of the gospel to the world. You see it, like I said, in these different spots throughout history. Think of the haystack meetings or the student volunteer movement, where hundreds of people suddenly decide they're going to give up whatever they were planning on doing, and they're going to lay all of that down for the sake of getting the gospel to the nations. At least for Southern Baptists, right now, I can't help but feel we're kind of experiencing at least a taste of that kindness of the Lord in the setting we're in here. It has been a remarkable experience to be a part of what Southeastern is doing to try to get the gospel to the nations, raising up generation after generation of students who take seriously these final words of Christ, this command to go and make disciples. And God in his kindness has just given us this outsourced opportunity to do it right now. It will not always be this way, but for right now, we find ourselves in a season, and I think it's precious what we get to be a part of, and what we get to witness as God is just raising up student after student after student and sending them literally all over the world to do work in this capacity. And in my chair, I'm the one with the front row seat to that. And so I get to see that happen over and over and over again in our students here. And it is just one of the most profound experiences I think I've ever had.
That's good. We'll end there then. That sounds good to me.
Okie doke. All right.
Alrighty. That's a wrap.